people come to Maytham At-Tammar after Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad had taken full control of the city prior to the event of Ashura. In fact, exactly 10 days to the day of Ashura, on the around the 22nd to the 29th of Dhul Hijjah, a group of merchants gather together. They go to Maytham At-Tammar and they say to him that the new governor is oppressing us and he's overtaxing us and he's hurting our businesses. So would you please come? You're an old man, you are respected in the community. Would you come and speak to him for us? And here's something we need to learn from the life of Maytham. Being a true Shia of Ali ibn Abi Talib means that you are truthful. It also means that you are brave. It also means that no matter what the price, you never forego of your religion. You never forfeit your principles. No matter what comes your way, no matter who mocks you, no matter who speaks against you, no matter what happens, if the entire world, in fact, turns against you, you do what needs to be done. That is what it means to be a Shia. The commander of the faithful, Imam Ali himself, our master, our leader, our role model says, Wallah, لو تظاهرت العرب على قتالي لما وليت منهم فرارا. By God, if all of the Arab tribes conspire to attack me, if they all unite in order to destroy me, I shall never be found fleeing from them. I will hold firm to my position and I will do what needs to be done no matter what the circumstances. That's another lesson we learn from the life of Maytham. And finally, this lesson, the fact that Maytham was killed not in battle, though of course he was a legendary warrior. Maytham was not killed in a dispute perhaps with the enemy. No, Maytham was killed because he interceded for a group of people that needed him to intercede. He went out of his way in order to help a group of merchants who were being oppressed by the governor. So next time when somebody approaches you, asks you for a favor, asks you to intervene in an issue, asks you to talk to someone. In fact, the hadith says that the alms of having a respected, esteemed position in the community is that you use it in order to help others. You use that position that you have. What do you want the position for if not to help those who are in need? And so they come to Maytham and they say, would you speak to the governor for us? Maytham says, sure. He goes along with this group of people. They enter the courtyard of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad. Maytham begins to speak with such courage and such valor. He's absolutely fearless. He doesn't care that the person standing in front of him is an utter tyrant of the worst caliber, someone who would not hesitate to kill 1,000 people if he wanted to. He doesn't care. So he speaks. And then one of the aides, one of the advisors of Ibn Ziyad, he says to him, do you know who that man is? That man, إِنَّهُ وَلِيُّ الْكَذَّابِ ibn al-Kazzab. He is the liar who is the follower of the liar, referring to the commander of the faithful, Amir al-Mu'mineen. Suddenly Maytham turns around and says, I am the truthful one, the follower of the truthful one. I'm a follower of Ali ibn Abi Talib. What are you talking about? Ubaydullah says, you know what? It's that audacity that's going to get you killed. I will have your head. And the way I'm going to do that is I will sever your arms and I will sever your legs. And I will crucify you on a chunk of tree, on a chunk of palm tree. Maytham looked at him. He said, Subhanallah. You see how I told you my master was truthful? My master told me that you would crucify me, sever my arms, cut my legs off, and leave me to die as I'm crucified. And you will also cut my tongue. Ubaydullah says, you know what? Just to prove your master was a liar, I will cut your arms and legs, but I will leave your tongue intact. So they take Maytham. They put him against this tree trunk, right outside the house of Amr ibn Hunayth. They cut his arms. They cut his legs. Can you imagine? Just imagine, you take a little needle and you perk the tip of your finger with it to the point where it pierces through your skin and there's a drop of blood that comes out, that is painful, right? People don't like to do that. It hurts. Now imagine not having a little needle perked through the tip of your finger, but having both your arms and both your legs cut and then left crucified to bleed to death. At that moment, what would be going through the mind of anyone experiencing that? Now imagine what's going through the mind of Maytham as he's crucified on that palm tree. Christians talk about Jesus Christ, Jesus the Son of Mary, the man whom they believe is God incarnate on this planet. When he's being crucified, the Bible states that he called out in pain and agony, and he said, Eloi, Eloi, lima shabachthani? Oh Lord, why have you forsaken me? Now, Jesus is complaining about why he's being forsaken by God as he's bleeding to death on the tree. As I said, of course, we don't believe in this, but this is what Christians believe. Now, Jesus is saying, why am I being forsaken? And yet look at what Maytham says. He has no arms, he has no legs, but he has one thing, one last weapon in his arsenal, and that's his tongue. So he calls on to the people. He says, أيها الناس من يريد أن يسمع من فضائل مولاي علي بن أبي طالب. O people, who wants to hear about the virtues and the merits of my master Ali ibn Abi Talib? Gather around so that I could tell you. وَمَنْ يُرِيدُ أَنْ يَسْمَعَ عَنْ مَخَازِي بَنِي أُمَيَّةَ. And who wants to hear about the shameful acts and the scandals of Bani Umayyah, the house of Umayyah? Gather around so that I could tell you these things. So people gather around and he begins to speak of the merits and virtues of Imam Ali, the scandalous, shameful history of Bani Umayyah. Somebody runs off to Ubaydullah. He says to him, listen, this is going to expose you and expose your entire regime for what it truly is. You better do something about this. So he sends someone off. He says to him, cut off his tongue. He comes to Maytham. He says to him, stick your tongue out. Maytham said, Sadaqa Mawlai Amirul Mu'mineen. Truthful is my master, the commander of the faithful, when he told me that my tongue would also be severed before I am killed. Then he stuck his own tongue out. They severed the tongue. He said, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And then another man came and he stabbed him in the stomach, slitting his stomach open and killing him right there. Maytham became a legend that generation after generation, people not only talk about him and speak of his legendary acts and his heroic positions, but they even come to the city of Kufa to visit the sacred shrines and mausoleums, and they don't miss going to the shrine of Maytham At-Tammar, paying their respects, crying for his tragedies, and saluting the grandeur that he exhibited during those moments when he was being crucified. Later that night, a group of other date sellers gathered together. Historians tell us that they went and they created a bit of a diversion, a bit of a distraction, so that the guards couldn't notice, and then they went and they brought him down from the crucifix. They took him to the location where he is buried now, outside of the city of Kufa, and they laid him to rest. May Allah grant us the chance to imitate the likes of Maytham At-Tammar, to walk in their footsteps, to show courage where we are supposed to show courage, to show valor where it comes to defending the truth and defending the